perfect set. Where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
This is part 3 in the video series reaction to Superhuman in the Octagon and Perfect in the Courtroom, assessing the culpability of martial artists who kill during street fights. This article, or this legal comment, I guess you would call it, is by Stephen Michael Ian Coonan. I don't know him, he doesn't know me, I don't get a dime for this. This is fair use because I'm giving commentary, especially as a martial arts instructor and a martial artist, so this ought to be transformative. But let's get to the other part of his argument, okay? The other possibility is more nefarious. Perhaps Torre wanted to kill Richards even though he could have subdued him without killing him, and was fortunate that Richards attacked first, enabling Torre to feign a self-defense claim. If Torre killed Richards intentionally in a cool and calm manner, Torre is an example of a martial artist who utilized his training for evil. This type of martial artist is very dangerous because he threatens the sanctity of human life by misusing his abilities. In this situation, he should be convicted of intentional homicide. All right, so right there, he's basically saying that it's possible that, that Torre is a psychopath. I really don't think that. But then again, I don't know. The jury convicted him, so the jury must have been convinced some kind of what he did was wrong. It's probably more, I'm thinking the jury was convinced that what he did was excessive because he did hold the chokehold for way longer than necessary. You don't even hold it that long in a fight. Not a fight. You don't even hold it that long in competition. But let's continue. In the first scenario, the martial artist should have the legal doctrines of imperfect self-defense and provocation available to him. In trying to subdue his opponent, the martial artist did not intend to kill him, and either the martial artist did not account for legal consequences, or his experience in a real fight was so different from his training that he lost his self-control just like any other person might. In the second scenario, the martial artist should be denied these defenses because he intentionally killed in a cool manner and did not need to do so to protect himself. Given the variations in the killings by martial artists, why did this jump on me? Oh, God. Went right by. Okay. Given the variations in the killings by martial artists, the law needs to provide a nuanced and contextualized response to punish the different defendants appropriately. I agree. We need to figure out in a situation like this whether the martial artist was just hoping that someone would try to do something and just murder somebody he knew he could murder, or if it was really somebody reacting out of self-defense. But see, again, people can just decide willy-nilly because they watch too much television that we are all these super cool, level-headed, uber ninja type people who can kill an army or destroy a tank with the flick of our wrist, which is not true, of course. So, again, I think this may lead to more martial artists being judged inappropriately and not given the benefit of the doubt of being a person. But this goes back to that Spider-Man adage too of with great power comes great responsibility. That's where I think this is ultimately going, is that I think they're going to try to set a legal standard here that, hey, you're a martial artist, you have to have a bigger threshold for self-defense, for chaos, for use of deadly force than the average person. What in the world is this? Because so many magical skills. Let's continue. This comment proposes a higher standard of self-defense for a small category of exceptional, well-trained traditional martial artists and mixed martial artists. Collectively martial artists. So you see, like I said right here, it's not going to matter if you are TMA or MMA. Collectively, you are martial artists, and they're throwing us all in there together. By denying them as a matter of law the ability to claim two distinct partial defenses, imperfect self-defense and provocation, only perfect self-defense should be available to those martial artists who qualify as martially sufficient under the circumstances. The proposed martial sufficiency test, MST, will determine under what circumstances a court should deny martial artists the partial defenses and will serve as a deterrent to martial artists who might respond with disproportionate force. The MST improves on previous tests that also support higher standards of self-defense for martial artists. The MST denies defendants the partial defenses for their abuse of martial arts skills and can thus be applied broadly to anyone with specialized combat skill, such as police officer or soldiers. This comment arrives at the MST by analogizing to instances where others have used subjective characteristics to influence the criminal law of self-defense. For example, battered women already attempt to introduce evidence of their situations in self-defense cases in order to have the jury interpret the reasonableness and evidence required of self-defense law more leniently. Similarly, police officers attempt to introduce evidence of their skills in combat to help jurors understand why their actions were reasonable. However, this evidence may work against the defendant if it reinforces the jury's preconceptions. That's what I'm talking about, the jury's preconceptions. Let me continue. By examining defendants with combat skill through the MST, ordinary jurors will be better able to decide self-defense cases where martial artists or other skillful individuals are the defendants. Okay, I'm going to cut this part here to keep it from getting long, and we're going to come right back with part 4. Stay tuned.